In this video, I'm going to be that guy. Yes, that's right. I'm going to tell you why reading books is important for a writer's career, but I'm also going to tell you how reading a metric crap ton of books has been one of the secrets to my success. When you become an author and publish your first book, you spend a lot of time doing stuff that you've never done before. It's all brand new, fun, and a little overwhelming, right? But you get it done and then you get a book on the market, and then more often than not, you want that same exhilarating feeling, so you go back to writing the next book, and then the next, and you have a ton of books out. I call it the writer's high. But what often gets lost is the time to read books. That's the hidden opportunity cost that few people ever think about before they become writers. Before I published my first book, I was reading probably 300 books a year. Not kidding. With my hectic schedule, honestly, it's possible I could go an entire year without even thinking about reading. There's so much to do and consider. But I find that when I'm not reading, I tend to be stagnating. That's because as writers, reading is how we learn. And if we don't make time every day or every week to read, then we'll find ourselves on plateaus. In the beginning of my career, I recognized this risk. I was fortunate enough to have been invited to be a co-host of the To Be Read podcast, where I talk about the books that I was reading every week. Being on the podcast meant that I had to hold myself accountable and actually read every week, even with a hectic writing schedule and a full-time job and a family and all the other obligations that life threw at me. I would be lying to you if I told you I didn't fail some weeks, but more often than not, I always had a new book to talk about. It instilled in me a habit that I need to find time to read even in busy situations, and that served me well. Even today, I read about 150 to 200 books a year, which is not bad given my schedule. This keeps my mind fresh. I also love reading because I love how it makes me feel. When I'm reading a book and enjoying it, it's, for me, as sacred as prayer. But there's another reason I make time for reading. Tai Lopez, an internet entrepreneur, did a TED Talk a few years back about reading books that I absolutely love. That was his topic, reading. His message is to think about every book that you read as a mini mentorship. You're spending time with that author and learning from them. It's cheap and easy learning if you take it seriously. I do. Whenever I read a fiction book, I read it for enjoyment, but when I put it down, I think about what it taught me from a storytelling perspective. And I write that down on a sketch pad on my computer. And when I'm practicing the craft, when I'm writing a new book, I refer to that ever-lengthening sketch pad and I experiment and I change things up. I try to do something experimental in at least every writing session that I have every time I sit down. So sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but the point is that I'm exercising that muscle. Whenever I read a nonfiction book, I pretend I'm sitting down with that author over a cup of coffee, and I'm only listening. I literally visualize everything that author's saying, and if it's a good book, it should be fairly easy. And I try to let it soak in, and I just hear it, even if I don't agree. Reading also exposes me to new ideas. I've been following the advice of Claudia Azula Altucher's book, How to Be an Idea Machine, and I come up with at least 10 new ideas every day for something. It could be anything. Many times the ideas are wacky and have nothing to do with writing, but oftentimes they do have a lot to do with writing and about author level up and about what I want from my career. And reading fills that creative well, and it makes that a lot easier for me to come up with ideas. Creativity and ideas are important because for me, I want to make sure that I am taking steps today and every day to ensure long-term growth in this area. James Altucher says that ideas are the currency of the future, and I agree with that 100%. Now, is all of this easy? No, it's not. It's not easy to read. I can't tell you how convenient it would be to do something more urgent, more measurable, right? But I've always believed that being a consistent reader and a consumer of stories will make me infinitely more successful in the long run. Therefore, I'm fine with spending the time. As my career grows and I gain more time for my writing career, more of that time will be spent reading and consuming stories, not writing. I'm already writing around 10 books a year, and I'm a part-time writer. I don't and won't have a productivity problem. I have a reading problem. When you've chosen the indie author life, where for most everything tends to move at the speed of light, it's all about production in your next book. Writing is easy. Reading is hard. If you haven't read a book in a while, then this is your wake-up call. Ding, ding, ding. Reading will balance you and keep you from burning out. Trust me on that. It won't seem like it's helping you or making you successful, but it is a quiet force that can help you be successful. Make the time to do it, and it'll pay off dividends, as it has for me. That's it for this video. If this is your first time watching, I'd love to have you subscribe, and if this video helped you in some way, do me a favor and click that like button. Thanks for watching.